Hello, my name is Alyssa and I am a VIP Kid teacher, and I wanted to show you the interview lesson for your Mock 1. Congratulations if you made it this far. That means VIP Kid sees a lot of potential in you, and now for this lesson you're going to want to show all of the teaching strategies you have been practicing, and I would love to show you some examples of the slides to show you how to teach this lesson. This is the X lesson, and if you've made it this far, then you probably already have a great background, but maybe for the interview you did a very simple background. So you might want to add a little bit to your background. It doesn't need to be anything too fancy, but you want it to look like a classroom. You might want to invest in a pair of headphones, a headset like this with a microphone. And you don't have to spend a lot of money. They're not very expensive, so it's a good way to show your interviewer that you are serious and ready to teach. You also want to make sure that your lighting is nice and bright. You can probably find some videos about how to improve your lighting, but you don't want any shadows on your face. So some big ideas to really keep in mind for this lesson is have really positive, good energy. If you are really low energy and you don't seem confident and you don't have a smile on your face, then you'll probably lose some points for that. You also want to make sure you use lots of TPR, which by now you should know a little bit about, basically total body movements that you do to help support the language, and you want to try to get the student to do those same movements so that they remember the new language that they're learning. And you need a reward. So I'm going to jump right in and show you this lesson, and I'll stop every once in a while to give some sort of commentary about the slides. Just keep in mind this is my way of doing the slides. It's not the only way. As long as you're keeping in mind all of the good teaching strategies and techniques, and you've practiced a lot. I can't emphasize that enough. Your interviewer will want to see that you have practiced these slides and then you're not reading the directions for every slide, and that you feel comfortable and have your props available. One other thing I wanted to mention to you is you need to keep time, your own time. When you're actually teaching for VIP Kid, there's a little time clock that helps you to sort of pace yourself. Usually you do about 1 slide per minute. So if there are 10 slides, that would be about a 10-minute lesson. If there are 15 slides, that would be a 15-minute lesson. So I just kept time on my phone, which is great. Just remember to take off the option that blacks out the screen. You don't want the screen to black out and for you to have to type anything in to see the time again. You just want it to display the time throughout your entire lesson. So remember, your interviewer is pretending to be about a 5-year-old student, a very beginning level English student, and you want to really stick to the target sentences that are given to you at the beginning, and I'll throw those in while I'm teaching all the slides. You want to keep the incidental language or the extra language to a minimum, if at all. You don't want to say any of that extra language because that confuses an English language learner. Hello, my name is Teacher Alyssa. What is your name? Hello, Sally. How are you? I am fine. Good job. Today, when you do a good job, you get a tooth. Tooth. Very good. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, so in that introduction, the interviewer, when you say how old you are, may say something like, I am 5. So if they say something wrong or say something incorrect, fine. You want to repeat the question. How are you? How are you? I am fine. I am fine. Good job. So you want to correct all and any mistakes that the interviewer will make. They will make mistakes on purpose. You need to really respond to whatever they're giving you. They're going to look that you can sort of roll with the punches. And everybody is nervous before the interview and doesn't know how the interviewer will respond. I'm sure they'll be very kind. But just remember that it is your job to stay on your toes and to respond to however the interviewer reacts or however the interviewer asks the question. So the first slide shows some pictures, and you are going to say that whatever picture, the name of the picture, and then you want the student to say, I see a tomato. It's a great idea to have some props here. You want several props at least throughout the lesson. Don't rely on only props. You also want to show the interviewer that you can use TPR. So this is how I would do that first slide. Tomato, tomato. I see a tomato. Elbow. I see an elbow. Robot. So you keep going like that. Table, you could use a prop, or you could go like this. Table. Ruler, you could have an actual ruler, or you can draw a picture. This is all review. So you could, after you do those couple examples on the top row, you could circle the picture and go like this. And see if the student actually remembers that vocabulary. If they're not giving anything back to you, then you say, ruler. So eventually by the last few, you're going to want the student to say the name and to say, I see a ruler on their own. You're modeling first, I do. We do it together. I do a little bit and then have you repeat and you maybe do it a little bit on your own. And then by the end, I want you to try to do it by yourself. So if they need you to do more of an example than that, if you point to your tongue and they don't say anything, you say, tongue. If they don't say, I see a tongue, then you give them the language and they repeat. The interviewer may say something like, I see elbow, or I see a elbow. You want to emphasize the mistake they made in a friendly way. I see an elbow. And then you move on after you've done all of those to the next slide. So this next slide has big and small letters, and you can really use what's on that slide. Since I don't have the slide to show you, I made this. You could make this also ahead of time. You don't want to, during the lesson, be writing things on the whiteboard if possible. In a real class, you do sometimes do that, but for the for the interview, you want things prepared ahead of time. So the instructions say that the teacher makes the letter sound. So I would go like this. S. And these are all small letters. I should really have written that one smaller. Small s. Big S. Draw a line. S. Small l. Big L. Ooh. Draw a line. At this point, I have modeled a couple, had them repeat. I want to see if they can do it on their own. Again, if they are not responding, if they're not following my pattern of saying small k, big K, drawing a line and saying k, 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 or k, then I am leading them through and having them copy. The ultimate goal is for them to be doing it more on their own, but if they're making a mistake or they are stuck and they don't know what to do, then I'm giving it to them and always having them repeat. You want the student to talk a lot during this. Again, you can use that slide a little bit more. You could show a couple of examples, and then if they've got it, put the example down and have them do it on the slide. Keep in mind when you are using the VIP Kid platform, even though while I'm talking to you, my computer screen may show the slides on this side, it's actually opposite. So you'll catch yourself if you're pointing to the slide this way, that would be correct. If you're pointing this way, that's not correct. If you're totally confused by that, don't worry, you'll figure it out when you get into the actual classroom, and you can get in there about an hour ahead of time, sometimes even a little bit more than that. So try maybe 2 hours ahead of time, see if you can get in there and practice a little bit. The next slide has a K and an E in the middle of the screen, and it has pictures along the side. So it says for the teacher to say a word and to have the student repeat the word and choose which letter sound they hear. And the target sentence on that slide is, for example, elevator starts with the sound E. So first what I would do is say k, k, k. Eh, eh, eh. And then starting at the top, there's a picture of an elevator. You would circle on the screen. Elevator. Elevator. Eh? K. Elevator. Eh. Draw a line, and you should show how to draw a line first so that they see. Eventually, by the end of this slide, the student's doing a lot more of the drawing on their own, but you're modeling the first couple. Then I would circle an egg on the screen. You can have an egg, 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 eh, k. Give the student a minute. They may actually be able to do this on their own. They may draw that line on their own. If they can't, then you could say egg, eh, egg, k. Give them that support. And then again, give them the whole answer if they're not able to do it on their own. Egg, eh. You might not even have to say draw a line. You could just go like this. The less talking you can do to get the idea across, the better. You keep going with that. Use some TPR. key. Ek. They may, again, draw the line on their own. You keep going through that whole slide. If you have an elephant or a picture of an elephant, that's a great prop. You can also use TPR, another good opportunity to use TPR, and just go like this. Elephant. Elephant starts with the sound eh, and you should say that sentence that whole time. At the beginning of the slide, I forgot to do that. Let's do one more example. Kite. Kite. Kite starts with the. Very good. As long as you're saying that sentence throughout, by the end, the student may be able to say that sentence and again do that whole activity towards the end by themselves. The next slide begins with new information for this lesson. So you want to use TPR, you want to use varied voices, and you want to spend the most time on this portion of the slide. If you're keeping to a minute per slide, that's great. If for some reason you're a little bit ahead or behind, you don't want to cut this X part short, you want to really emphasize this to get that point across. X. X. X, X, X. X makes the sound X. X, X, X. 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 X makes the sound X. Very good. Throughout, you should also be rewarding the student. So at this point, after every slide, I should have given the student several teeth. So I could say, good job, you get a tooth. You don't need to have a stand like this. You could have a whiteboard like this and put it here. It's great to have the reward shown throughout the whole lesson. That way the student can see their progress and see how many teeth they're getting. It should be motivating. The next slide has a fox, and before the mock interview, I did order this on Amazon. You don't need to. I don't recommend spending a whole lot of money since you haven't quite been hired yet, but I thought it would be a good investment. It might score me a bonus point or two. So I have this. If you don't, you could always go like this. Fox. 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 You want to say the new vocabulary at least 3 times. I see a fox. What do you see? What do you see? Good job. You get a tooth. Yay! Great job. The next slide is the ox slide. I did not get an ox from Amazon. So it's helpful to use TPR and just use your body to show this one. Ox. Ox. Ox, ox, ox. I see an ox. What do you see? Remember, the student should say an ox. If they make that mistake, you should say, I see an ox. Good job! Yay! You can use all sorts of fun and interesting added things to make your lesson a little bit more exciting. You don't want to go too overboard. You really want to highlight your teaching, but one or two things to make it a little more interesting, like this dollar store hand, can come in handy. Activity time! So I like this using this magnetic board and the letters. You're teaching how to read and you're pointing and reading. So you can use magnetic letters. You can also use the slide and you can draw on the slide. You want to definitely utilize the slides that are given to you. You can draw on the slides with your mouse, and the student will see what you're drawing when you are done drawing, when you are done pressing the button on your mouse, or if you have a touch screen when you lift your finger up. The point is, you need to point, and you're teaching how to blend and blend the sounds. Ah. Let's actually start that one there. Ah. X. Ah. X. Ah. X. Ax. T. Ax. Tax. You want to slowly give it over to the student if they're able to do it. Giving more help if they need more help. If they know the f, but they forgot the ax, then you say ax, f, ax. Good job. So maybe you're giving them the sounds in the beginning and they're able to blend it together. And then see if they can do this one. Very good. High five. Great job. The next one's probably the hardest slide to teach, but I'm going to show you the way that I did it for my mock, and I passed, so it could be a good way to do it. So you do want to use the slide, but I also made a little picture of just the top row, and I'm ignoring that bottom row for now. The mock mentors, they definitely know that this is a challenging slide, so they want to see that you have some effective way of teaching it, and can get the student to show that, or can get the student to try to remember on the next slide. So X. See if they remember. If they don't, fox. Might want to use TPR just to try to remind them. Ox. If they're saying all the letters correctly without your help at all, great. If not, that's okay. You just say it and help them. Click to the next slide. I'm showing them that on the next slide, there are no pictures. So now I'm going to go back to the slide before. X, fox, ox. X, fox, ox. X, fox, ox. Okay, so now we're going to the next slide. And the next slide shows nothing. So you're going to say, you can always give them a little hint. You can always say like this, and then they'll be able to say X. You can always show your your stuffed animal or show whatever you did for that new vocabulary word and see if they can say it on their own. But you might not have to because you already went through the order of those cards before getting to the one that they needed to remember it. You can do the next line, do the bottom line the same way. It shows a different order. It shows fox, ox, and X. Go through it a couple times, have the student say it a couple times, flip to the screen where it doesn't reveal what the cards are, and see if the student can remember on their own. Again, giving support if they need support. At this point, you're really home free. The last slide is the slide where it has the I and the X. Again, this is helpful to have a magnetic board. If you don't have a magnetic board, you can use a whiteboard and write the letters. You could have little cards with the additional letters that you need, which are K and S and M and T. So basically, you want to first review X and have them practice blending. Maybe they can do it on their own. See if they can. If not, K, X. Kicks. Again, if they can do it on their own, they do it on their own. If they need your help, you give them a little bit of help. If they need more, you give them a little more, but always have them repeat. You can give little hints like this. T, X, ticks. Very good. Then you're going to choose two. It could be, let's see, it could be, oh, I should have had an R there too. It could be these two. Ricks, 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 Ricks. Write the R. Good. So if this were a whiteboard too, I would say write the letter and show them how to write an R. And I might go like this or go like this. Good job. And go through the rest where you say a couple more, do a couple more examples. Mix, mix, mix. Yes! Right and M. Good job. Now you want to keep track of time on this. If you are running really low on time, then you will probably be stopped in the middle of this. And if you get through it, fabulous. I did not get through all my slides. I was close. I really practiced a lot and tried to keep with the time, but when there's a real live interviewer in front of you, sometimes things take a little bit longer. So as long as you get through most everything, the goal is to get through everything, but as long as you get through most everything, that's what's important. At the end, again, you want to give at least one more reward. Good job! Great job, Sally! High five! Yay! You did a great job! Goodbye! And there it is. Please comment below if you have questions. My referral code is down below. I would love to help you. I've helped a lot of teachers get hired. I'd love to help you. I have a Facebook group. I have other videos. Don't forget to check out the My Country video below too. Good luck!